All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Keith Thurman and Jaron Ennis. Also, his hopes that from Keith Thurman that he can still get the Errol Spence Jr. fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We are in the welterweight division, but we are not talking about the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight. We are talking about Keith Thurman and Jaron Ennis. Now, excuse me. Before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber, a guy or a girl, or a woman that consistently watches the channel, watches the live streams, watches the videos, thank you so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to the channel and to me personally. Thank you. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos, which we do on a daily basis with live streams pretty much every day. So definitely check us out. Join the community. Greatly appreciate it. I think you'll have a lot of fun in the conversations that we have. All right, so let's talk about Keith Thurman and what Keith Thurman is going to do next, and a potential fight with Jaron Ennis on Showtime in the fall. As you know, Keith Thurman is a former two-time welterweight champion. He's a WBA champion at a point. He was the WBC champion at the point. Lost his WBA belt to Manny Pacquiao. Just came back in the early portion of this year. Fought Mario Barrios for a unanimous decision win. So now he's back active and it was looking for a championship shot. However, the championship shot is not there for Keith Thurman at the moment, apparently, because Errol Spence Jr. holds 3 of the belts, the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF, and Terrence Crawford holds the WBO, and both of those fighters say they want to fight each other, and if they don't fight each other, then they want to move up to 154 pounds and start to campaign at 154 pounds. So apparently that fight is off the table for Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has said that he would be willing to fight, one of these young up-and-coming fighters, if it led to a championship fight, if that's what he has to do to get back in the mix. So obviously people were like, you're talking about Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis is the guy, first of all, he's pretty much expected to be by many to be the next big name, the next big guy at 147 pounds. He is in the top 4 of every sanctioning body. And in the WBC, he is the number 4 contender, where Keith Thurman is a number 3 contender. They both fight for the PBC. So, fight makes sense. Peanut butter mixed with chocolate. Everybody loves it, that type of scenario. However, Stephen Espinoza has come out and said that fight more than likely, he didn't say it directly, but he hinted heavily that fight more than likely is not going to happen because Keith Thurman is going to be too expensive for that fight. And so to make that fight between the two of them is probably not going to happen because of the asking price for the fight for Keith Thurman. There had been a lot of talk about that fight taking place, and it's a fight that I would love to see take place. However, Keith Thurman is not going to be the type of guy that's going to take a pay cut to lose his, basically to take a loss. And now, I'm not saying that Keith Thurman doesn't have a chance at all against Ennis. I do think that if you look at everybody in that division, he probably has the best chance to win against Jaron Ennis, alongside maybe, I would guess, Yordenis Ugas, and some people may say Virgil Ortiz, but he's not going to. But more than, excuse me, I got a fly in my face. But more than likely, Not going to happen according to Steven Espinoza because of the price tag associated with it. Now, what I think may happen with Keith Thurman is he may find out that if he's going to go for a championship, what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to sit there and fight for a vacant belt. And more than likely, the vacant belt that he'll be able to fight for is what was promised to him, which is the WBC belt. And if he's going to fight for, but that's going to have to be after those guys vacate those titles. Now, will it be ordered for him to fight Jaron Ennis for the vacant belt, or would it be ordered for him to fight Virgil Ortiz for that? Virgil Ortiz for that belt. That's kind of up in the air, but those are the most likely scenarios for him. Now, I personally think, man, that it actually may do him some good to fight Jaron Ennis, because I don't think a lot of people would really give Keith Thurman a lot of chance to beat Jaron Ennis. But if he was able to do that, that's, I believe, the only way that he can really that is not the only way, but that is a way that he can really rebuild his career, by beating Jaron Ennis. Because Jaron Ennis is considered by many people to be the best young fighter at 147 pounds. And even if he wins, it's like he wins a vacant belt against, say, Staniasis, because like Staniasis is the WBA guy, right? Who is the mandatory for right now is the mandatory for Errol Spence in that belt. If he goes in there and beat Staniasis, that doesn't necessarily bring back a lot of the belief in Keith Thurman that Keith Thurman had when he was one time knocking cats out. Even if he winds up knocking Staniasis out, the question will still be, he'll still be in that position of saying, okay, well, what are you going to do though with Ennis? What are you going to do with Virgil? What are you going to do with Virgil Ortiz? And he's eventually going to have to get in that type of situation to fight those guys. Now, Virgil Ortiz is not very likely, because Virgil Ortiz is over there with Golden Boy, and never the twain shall meet between the PBC and Golden Boy, because there's people in the PBC are not going to go fight over there in the zone, and that's one of the prerequisites that Oscar De La Hoya has to matching his fighters with any of the PBC fighters. He said that as far as Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, was like, look, if that fight is going to get made, the fight needs to be 50-50 between the zone and Showtime. So, and that's not realistic. And Virgil Ortiz and Keith Thurman, and the other scenario was Jamal Charlo and Jaime Munguia, where he's saying, yeah, we can, where Jamal Charlo offered a title shot to Jaime Munguia at 160, and Oscar turned it down because the fight wouldn't be on DAZN, right? So that's not going to change if you talk about Keith Thurman and Virgil Ortiz, especially with Keith Thurman, who's a former Golden Boy fighter who left Golden Boy to sign with the PBC in that big brouhaha that took place between Oscar De La Hoya and Al Heyman. So as far as what Keith Thurman is going to do, man, I'm just wait and see. He's actually even run out of the options of the older fighters that are out there, because they've all pretty much left the division. They've either left the division or they're retired. If you want to look, then that specifically what I'm talking about is Sean Porter is retired. Danny Garcia is going up to 154. He's fighting at 154 pounds against Jose Benavidez. So his run I think Danny Garcia's run at championships is probably over with that move, but he's not going to be in the weight class, and he's going to have to fight these young dogs, and no better person to fight than Jaron Ennis. However, more than likely for that fight to happen, Jaron Ennis has to go ahead, get a belt, get his following up, get to a situation where, he's selling a good amount of tickets and the interest on him is really good. So that may not happen for two or three more fights. But anyway, that's my take on the scenario. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.